student debt and the job market reality. You see, they're banking on you getting out of school with $100,000 loan that you got to repay at $700, $800, $900 a month. And they're banking on the fact that you're going to take any job available to you. It's not going to be the job that you studied for. It's not going to be the job that you wrote essays about. It's going to be a job just as a filler. And just remember this, once you get into that filler job, you're never going to get out of it. It'll take 3, 4, 5 years before you realize that, oh my God, I'm still a barista at Starbucks, or hey, I'm a cashier at Wendy's. And that's where they got you. It's the trap. The trap is to get you enslaved with debt as soon as possible, as soon as they can. And when I mean as soon as they can, at 17, 18 years old, when you go to university, where you think that you know what you want to study. And around 80% of the people that go to university don't even know what they're studying. They don't know what their major is going to be. That's an immense amount of responsibility to take on to figure it out. It's going to cost you $20,000, $40,000, $50,000 before you're in year 2. And then by that time, you're hooked because you're halfway through. And if you give up now, you owe 50 grand for something you're never going to use, or you double down and you go $100,000 to get a Bachelor of Arts so that you can be that cashier at Wendy's again? I'm here to tell you that reality, nobody ever sits down and tells young people about this. It's a trap. And I want you to recognize and realize that there's nothing in university that's going to be taught to you that you can't teach yourself. The only reason that I'm in agreement to go to university or a place of higher education is so that you can network, so you can meet people in your field. You can do that just as well taking a night school course. Same thing. You're going to be involved with the same brains, the same ideology, the same people in that industry. And I really want you to pay attention to this, because if somebody had sat down to me and told me, Kev, you don't have to go to school, but you could just buy these books, read them, and be twice as smart as the people in that class. Because at the end of the day, when you're going to school, you're not really paying attention. Not paying attention. You're looking at that beautiful blonde next to you. You're looking at that hot jock next to you. You're looking at your phone. You're looking outside. You're interested in everything else other than what's happening in that room. And that, my friends, is going to cost you $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. If you took that same money and you invested it in a window washing business, you'd make $1 million by year 5. I'm telling you that right now. So I want you to understand that what I'm trying to say to you is I'm trying to save you a lot of aggravation. Because once a young person gets into student debt, you're finished. You're done. Because all of a sudden you're into the system. 1, 2 mistakes and you won't be able to buy a house. You won't be able to afford a car. Your interest payments are there. It's a booby trap, because they want you to miss a payment. They want you to be late on a payment. They want you to falter so that your credit rating goes down and they get to charge you more interest. You see, when you first start, they give you a really low interest. No interest for 6 months. And you think, I got this. But let me tell you, as a 54-year-old man who's walked the earth a little bit, is that you can only make a few mistakes in this life. And if you make those mistakes in order, one after another, you're screwed. You are literally screwed. So I'm here to tell you, I'm here to give you some advice, I'm here to give you some guidance. Do not go into debt. They don't tell you this. They don't teach you this in school, unfortunately. And the things that they don't teach you are the things that you need to know, right? They teach you about all the stuff, right? They teach you about chemistry and math, but they don't teach you the mathematics of compound interest. They don't teach you the mathematics of interest payments, and how if you get behind on your payments and your interest payments, you will never be able to catch up. I want you to really, really go out and talk to people that are more successful than you, because successful people will always take the time to answer and explain things to you, right? That's how they got successful, is by listening to somebody else tell them. They didn't go and figure it out. Well, the ones that did figure it out spent a lot of money. And the people who didn't spend the money spent other people's experience. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to listen to other people who have walked that path and ask them, if they had to do it all over again, what part would they change? And 9 out of 10 times they'll say student loan. Student loan is the chain that they put around your ankle, and you'll never be able to take it off. And if you're going just by doing minimum payments, you're even more screwed. You're never going to get ahead of it. And here's another segment that I wanted to touch on, is that why hard work isn't going to get you ahead like it used to. And I'll tell you why, is because of all the immigrants that are coming here. Do you know that the immigrants that are coming here, because they don't speak the language of English, because they don't know how to communicate effectively yet, mind you, let me add yet, the reason that these people are coming to this country are for a better life that they had back home. And the reason that most people leave their country of origin is not because they didn't like it. It's not because they couldn't make it. It's because they were hungry. They were led by their stomachs to North America, to the West. And because of that, they are going to outwork you. They are going to work 15 hours when you only work 8 because of laws and regulations. So when it comes to hard work, they're going to work harder for cheaper pay. You think you're going to be able to go head to head with this person? You think that you're going to be able to outsmart and outwork that person? And as soon as the immigrants, these migrants, whatever you want to call them, come to our country, and as soon as they learn the language, it's finished for you. It's done. Because most of these people that are coming from the third world countries come from a country of commerce, business, transactional. They are good at communicating. They're good at problem solving. Remember, they came across the ocean with nothing. And you, my friend, have a computer in your hand more powerful than what NASA used to get to space, and yet you can't find a job. I'm not saying this to hurt your feelings. I'm giving you the reality. The reality of it is that they are going to outwork you. And once they learn the language and communicate, it's done. You know why? Because they don't have any loans. They don't have any student debt. They don't have any debt yet. Because every one of them that comes here is going to want to buy a house. And that house, they're going to go into debt for. But they don't have a student loan debt. You see, a student loan debt is just a fictional debt that you have. You bought knowledge. Great. It's like buying a record or going to the movies. You didn't gain anything. You didn't hold anything. A house, going into debt for a house, you own it. It'll protect you from the rain. It'll keep you warm in the winter. You can plant your food in the backyard. There's a lot of benefits to having a house. An education, on the other hand, there's no benefit to having an education. Not when there's immigrants coming. Because these people, they know how to survive. And you don't. You don't. You're 15 to 25, the people that are watching this video, and you have no idea what you're coming up against. So what I want to do is not discourage you. Hard work is not going to save you. Smart work will. Smart work will. I learned a great poem when I was young, and I'm going to share it with you. An idiot with a plan will beat a genius without one every single time. So what I want you young chaps to do is I want you to plan. I want you to have a plan. I want you to have a direction. I want you to be able to understand that the only thing that is going to make you competitive with the market that's going to be coming out is that you got to learn how to solve problems. That's all you got to do. You got to be a good problem solver. Let me repeat this because I don't think a lot of people understand this. And I'm not talking about rhymes and riddles. I'm talking about problem solving, plumbing problems, roofing problems, driveway problems, window problems, appliance problems, you name it. There's a host of different things that you can do. And yes, I know that you're saying, oh, Kev, but I went to university and I'm not going to go and repair appliances and I don't want to go and do plumbing. Would you rather do that or be hungry? Would you rather be that or homeless? Remember, kids, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to give you some experiential truth that I have learned in my 54 years being on this planet, and what is successful, what makes success, and what kills success. What kills success is when people say, I won't do that. As soon as you say that, it's over for you. There's no reason for you to go any further. You've already made the decision, no. And that no is a very hard word. What I want you to do is use it with, I'll try. I'll test it out. I'll give it a whirl. Whatever it takes, that's what you do. Because once you learn how to solve problems and you get good at that, people will pay you. People will pay you to solve their problems. Everybody's got problems. Not everybody has a job for you, but everybody's got a problem. Knock on anyone's door that owns a house and ask them this question. What problem in your house are you having a problem solving? And they will give you a list of things that they're working on that they can't figure out. But if you walk up to a guy's door and knock on the door and say, hey, you got a job for me? He'll say no. You see what I'm saying? It's all about framing, perspective. And that's not what they teach you in school. They teach you that in the real world. The real world is a place that is so beautiful, that is so powerful, it's so abundant, but nobody teaches you the real world. They don't want you in the real world. You know why? Because they want you in debt. And the real world teeters on that, right? Do I want to look successful or do I want to be successful? Do I want to look rich or do I want to be rich? Do I want to look happy or do I want to be happy? These are questions that you need to answer, and only you can answer these questions for yourself. I really want you to think about that. So does Pierre. Let's talk about the housing crisis that is right on the backs of that. You see, when you don't have enough money, you're going to have a very small amount of choice of places that you can afford or you want to live in. See, we were talking about the immigrants and the migrants that are coming by. And these people are used to living in 2s, 3s, 4s. They're used to living on a boat with 60 people, and it was only meant for 5. You understand? This is problem-solving skills that you do not have, North American kids. And I want you to, it's not that you don't have them yet. I'm giving you the tools to actually go and become abundant. And when the housing crisis that's coming up is that your way of thinking is, oh, I don't want to live with roommates. Meanwhile, the immigrant person that's coming here is, I'll live with roommates, no problem. I'll live in a closet. I'll live in a garage. I'll live in a hallway. I'll live in a car. I'll live in the park. However, the North American kid is, oh no, I don't want to live with that stinky old guy. Or, oh, I don't want to live with that woman. Or I don't want to live with that guy. You don't have choice, kids. The choice is becoming more slim every single day. And it will continue to. However, if you're a problem solver, which I'm really hoping that by watching my videos you understand the theme here, is that you want to solve that problem, which means that if you got 4 or 5 of your buddies together and rented a house, you all could pitch $500, $600, $700 a month and rent a really nice house for $2,500, $3,000 and happily live ever after. There's strategies that you can implement to get what you want in life. You don't have to just feel powerless. I want you to realize that you need to turn that mechanism inside your brain on so that you figure things out. And I don't want you to let other people figure it out for you. I want you to take other people's advice. I want you to listen to them. I want you to understand where they're coming from. But by taking in all that knowledge, make up your own decision. You see, this whole course, this whole series that I have is about learning how to make decisions. Because that's all it is, man. Life is about a series of decisions that you make that give you an outcome. Don't just say, I'm just doing it to pass time. If you are just doing things to pass time, you'll realize that it took you 5 years of procrastinating, and all you really got out of it was you got to be a really good procrastinator. And that's not where you want to be. It's not where you want to be. I don't know if you guys can hear it in the background. All I hear is wind, the chirping of crickets, birds. You know why? Because that's the life that I wanted. I decided that 25 years ago. That's the life I wanted. And I worked towards that. Mind you, it was a different time, but it was a worse time. You guys still have it really good because you guys have population now. You have a ton of population. You have so many people that have come into the country. 1 million people have come into Canada, right? Just this year. And so as the population grows, more services will be needed, more problems to solve. You see, I want you to understand that this isn't a bad thing. They're making it seem like it's a bad thing. It's not. It's the only reason that people say it's a bad thing are people who are dependent, right? They're dependent on their job. They're dependent on the government. They're dependent on their boss. They're dependent on their manager. They're dependent on their spouse. As soon as you're dependent on something, you're screwed. What I want you to be the most independent person. And by being independent comes with making good, sound decisions, such as don't get into debt. We'll get back into that. On to the next topic. Let's talk about the gig economy. The gig economy, man. This is big. This came around about 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and it's catching wind. It's making real strides, and it's gaining wings, as we call it. The gig economy is great because you can now be many things to many different people. Right? You can be a chef, you can be a yoga instructor, you could be a cab driver, you could be a welder, all in the same week. Nobody's going to say why. Because if you go into a profession, right? You go to university, you get a bachelor, a master's, a PhD, you can only do one thing. That's it. Right? If you go and you study dentistry, you can only be a dentist. You can't look at people's skin. You can't look at people's feet. You can only look at people's teeth. And you spent 8 years to do that? The fuck is wrong with you? Or you can be an economist. That's all you can do is be an economist or a cab driver. The idea is to, in the gig economy, gig is short form for doing whatever you want and not having anything tether you, whether it be a license or a certificate, or a person has a problem, they hire somebody for that gig, and away they go. That's it. You don't have to have a long-term commitment with this person. You don't have to have a long contract with this person. All you need is that problem solved, and away you go. So if you know how to put in fence posts like this one, and the next day you want to build barbecues like this one, Bob's your uncle. And that's what I mean about the gig economy. The gig economy is a beautiful place to be in if you can situate yourself as being a problem solver. I keep coming back to this. You got to be able to solve problems for many different people. And the beautiful thing about this is you don't need any credentials. You don't need any certificates. You just need to have the experience. That's it. How do you get experience? By failing. That's it. See, you can't get experience any other way. You can't buy it. You can't look at it. You got to do it. The way that I explain it to people is if you want to learn how to swim, you got to get into the water. You can't read about it. You can watch as many Olympic videos as you want about swimming. It's not going to get you to swim. The only way that you're going to be able to swim is by getting into the water. I think my audio is going to be very windy. The thing about being in the gig economy is that you always have to keep moving. You always have to keep looking for work. You always have to be one step ahead, which means that you either have to become a really good planner or you're screwed. There's no ways about it. This is the benefit of doing this, is you'll be able to be the master of your own time. See, time management is what they don't want you to have. You went to school to learn how to manage time. You didn't go to school to learn. You didn't go to school to do anything. You went to school to be a good worker. You didn't go to school to be a good thinker. And the gig economy is all about thinking. That's where the pros and the cons of the gig economy is. I want you to really understand that when you get into the gig economy, it's very hard to leave because the money is so good, because you get to do the things that you really want to do and get paid for it at the same time. It's a very win-win, but it's very hard to get into it. You see, it's like jumping in a pool. You don't want to jump into a pool because it might be cold, right? But after you get into that pool, about 10, 15 seconds, maybe 5 breaths worth, all of a sudden you realize that, hey, it's not too bad. I kind of like it. And if I move in a certain kind of direction, in a certain kind of way, I move my arms and legs in unison, I can actually go somewhere. That's the analogy that I want to leave you with when it comes to the pros and cons of the gig economy. I invite you to get involved in that economy because there's no commitment needed, right? You do a job, you don't like it, you don't have to do it again. Looks like it's gonna rain. That's not gonna hurt me though. Anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about, the pros and cons of the gig economy. And lastly, for this segment, I want to talk about how finances really get you stressed out and how it affects you mentally. You see, when you don't have any money and you're stressed out about rent, food, student loan bill, that kind of thing doesn't make you a good partner. You're not going to be able to go to the club and dance your ass off because you don't have any money. And even if you do have money, you're going to be spending money that you are going to be in debt for. So you're really not going to have all that fun of a time. It's impossible to have fun when your pockets are poor, right? It's impossible to find the love of your life when you're poor. It's impossible to buy a house when you're poor. It's impossible to get a new car when you're poor. You see, the idea is to have a grasp over your finances. It's very important as a young person to understand the direction that you're going to go into. Are you going to be a person who goes the debt route, where you're going to be in debt, you're going to always owe your credit card, you're going to live in overdraft, and you're going to live in fees where the banks want you? Or are you going to be the type of person who pays cash for everything, is always on time with their bills? You make your bed in the morning, you're prepared, you brush your face, you brush your teeth, you tie your shoelaces. Everything is done because you prepared it that way. It's not haphazard. And that is a mindset that not a lot of young men have. Only 3% of males, listen to this, only 3% of males are debt free. That means the rest of the people live in a prison of debt. And there's nothing wrong with it. If you can manage it, if you have a good paying job, if you are tethered to the 9 to 5 and you enjoy that, there's nothing wrong with that. Some people thrive in that environment. But there's also other people who want to travel. They want to learn new things. They want to read. They want to, go hiking. They want to go and ride that new motorcycle. Whatever it is, they need time. So what I want people to understand, I want my young men to understand, is that your mindset as a young man is very malleable, which means you can mold it. And if you mold your lifestyle to exactly the way you want it, dial it in, you're going to have a very successful, beautiful life ahead of you. However, it takes preparation, planning, and discipline. I hope this series helps you. I hope that you are taking away some knowledge and sharing it with people who you think might be, beneficial to hear this message. Because at the end of the day, I give you this information because I want you to thrive in this world. There's a lot of people out there that are going to discourage you about living a good life. I'm here to encourage you to take the plunge, to go out and make mistakes, go out and get rejected, go out and do the tough tasks that nobody else wants to do. Become famous for saying yes. Right? Please share, subscribe, and like this. I'll catch you on the next series.